you may think, oh, weed, who cares? Cell phone, who cares? Whatever, blah, 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 blah. He's never charged. Like, he just couldn't get out of his own way. And he was always in trouble for something and always making an excuse for something. Late for practice. Oh, my car broke down. I wrote a book about the Shaq Kobe Lakers. And there was one moment where he showed up. He missed a couple practices. And he said he didn't know how to get there. And he literally lived 100 yards from the practice facility. Like, he just couldn't help. Smoked a lot of weed. Couldn't get out of his own way, etc., etc. So now the Blazers have added Rasheed Wallace coming off of a legal incident, Jared Ryder, multiple legal incidents. On that same day, they re-sign their own guy, D'Antonio Wingfield. D'Antonio Wingfield, second round pick of Seattle, played one season, 94 with the Sonics, comes to the Blazers, kid from small town Georgia. And like, it's kind of like, in and of themselves, these guys didn't seem like, if you talk to J.R. Ryder or you talk to D'Antonio Wingfield, you'd be like, oh, these are nice guys. A couple years later, D'Antonio Wingfield arrested outside an apartment in Forest Park, a suburb of Cincinnati, on charges of felonious assault and assault. There'd been a domestic dispute with a girlfriend. Police are called. They have to remove him. He gets verbally abusive. He begins pushing them. The two police officers suffer minor injuries. Then he missed a court date early in the year because he was involved in a car accident. And like, he's not there yet, but these are the guys you're adding to this mix. And you already have on the Blazers Gary Trent. And if you were a fan of Ohio University basketball back in the day, not that many, but Gary Trent was fucking awesome in college. He was drafted 11th overall by the Milwaukee Bucks, traded to Portland. And within a couple of years, Gary Trent, great player, likable guy in many ways, would be arrested on assault charges. And like, these are the guys Bob Whitsitt is adding to the Blazers and keeping with the Blazers. And he says at the time, look, we had to get ourselves younger. We tried to get as many good players as we could in one place. We needed youth. We needed energy. This is what we needed to do. And with these guys,
this is an abnormal start to a storage unit video. So we just bought this unit, right? The manager came up here to try to unlock the lock and realized that somebody, probably the previous tenant, has tried to break into it. As you can see, they destroyed the metal here. So now whatever they did, this lock is stuck. Now, obviously the lock's still on, the tag's still on, so they weren't able to get inside of it, but whatever's in there, they really wanted to get it out. So now I'm just super curious. We're waiting on her to go get some tools to get the door open. So the inside of the lock was completely destroyed. So there was nothing that a key could do to actually turn that. So she had to get pliers and actually break it to get this door open. So after 10 more minutes of fighting with all the tools, we got the lock off, we got the tag off. Now we get to see it. And it does look exactly like it did originally in the picture. So nobody's been in here. That's crazy. Well, weird start, but guys, I just paid $430 for this abandoned storage unit right here, and I wasn't expecting this wild story. So I guess let's start digging through it and see what we can find. This is going to determine how this unit.
One master builder spends 7 brutal years attempting the unthinkable, hand-carving a massive, 2-story house directly out of a living mountain, entirely alone. Driven by a vision to build a generational home for his family, he sets out to push his body to its absolute limits, fighting to connect 2 floors with an internal staircase, channel natural water and electricity, carve a fully functional kitchen and terrace, and transform wild ideas into ingenious reality. But every step deeper brings new risks. Threats of catastrophic collapse, hidden structural cracks, unforgiving rainy seasons, and a personal crisis that forces him away for 2 long years, leaving his life's work swallowed by the forest. Most people would never return, but he does. Will he bring to life his family home on the cliffside, or will the mountain claim his dream?
Yeah, fuck no, he's not doing that.
It all started in 20. Whenever they can, his family comes to spend time on the mountain with him, enjoying the place Who built for them, and waiting for the day they can all finally move here together. For 7 long years, this mountain demanded every ounce of Hu's strength. He carved a 2-story house connected by a staircase through solid sandstone, brought water and electricity deep into the mountain, and transformed bare rock into a livable home where he can now cook his own meals. When storms destroyed parts of the structure and the forest reclaimed his work, he always returned and rebuilt. The result of all those years of sacrifice is finally beginning to take shape. What once felt impossible is no longer just a dream, but a real home in the mountains, built entirely.
You had a run-in with somebody, an infamous person.
I did. In 1970.
7 years of your life for that. His ass.
At the state park. It was Ken Lake State Park. I had a run-in with John Wayne Gacy. And well, actually, I ran into him 3 years later, too.
But so the first time you met him you were how old?
I was about a month or a couple weeks from being 15.
And what happened?
It was a typical hot August night. I was at the state park, and I'd been playing with some of the tourist kids. I'd ridden my bike across the golf course over to the park property. I was sitting in the lobby. He walks up to me, and he said, "Are you a local?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "What's there to do around here?" And he's dressed in a leisure suit, a black and brown leisure suit. I was in orange swim trunks with a towel around my neck. I said, "Do you like fishing? Do you like boating? It's a resort. It's outdoor paradise, hunting." He said, "No." And then I started to get up. He said, "What's there to do around here?" And I said, "Are you into hiking or sailing or camping?" And he said, "No." And then I started asking him questions. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Chicago. I'm visiting some people down here." And I said, "Where?" He said, "Jonathan Creek." Well, I knew that was about 4 hours by water, 4 hours by land. So I started to get up again, and he asked me the question again. So I went ahead and stood up, and I was starting to get annoyed. And I said, "Are you looking for liquor, or are you looking for women?" I said, "This is kind of a family-style resort." And as I started to walk off, he said, "Hey, would you like to have a beer with me?" And I said, "Sure." So we walked down to his room. It was the 6th room on the left. I knew most of the workers at the state park, but there was a new desk clerk named Ella working that night. And we had seen each other. I had the keys to some of the rooms where I could get a fresh towel if I needed it. Since my mother worked there, I was a fixture really on the property. So we go down to his room. He opens the door. It was the old-fashioned keys back then. I walk in. I take a couple of steps. He walks in behind me, and he takes his hand and he grazes my behind, my butt. And I thought, that was a little weird. I thought maybe that was a mistake. I looked to the right, which was a typical hotel room, and the bathtub was completely filled to the top with ice. And there was 2 chairs, 2 beds. The TV was in between the chairs. I took a seat at the first chair. And then he goes to a cooler and brings back a beer. It was a Wiedemann in a red, white, and black can. He hands me the beer, and then he goes over and shuts the curtains. And we were on the first floor, and my bike was parked just right outside the window, probably 30, 40 feet away. And he's closed the curtains. He walks past me. This would have been the picture glass window here. This would have been the restroom. As he goes past me,